Oh my gosh, dude. They're just. I just got fucking spawn killed off the respawn, dude. How we doing, folks? Lunar from the future here. So I'm sitting here getting ready to edit this video. You know what I'm saying? I'm chopping up all the audio. I'm getting ready to put video over the audio. And come to find out, I actually deleted all of my Marvel Rivals footage. I was sitting on like a cool 30 gigabytes of gameplay just from both beta tests. It was just like random matches that I recorded, and I was going to use that for this video, but they are now gone. So typically when I do reviews, I like to show specific things on screen when I'm talking about it, but that might not be able to happen for this video. I don't know. I've already made some videos on Marvel Rivals, so I have those to use as footage for this, but my bad. Mainly just saying my bad. I should have had extra footage for this video, but I don't. I hope you guys understand. Welcome to Bound. Fellas, how in the hell are we doing today? Now this video might seem a little bit out of place since this game's kind of dead at the moment, but I'm not gonna lie, your boy's been in kind of a rut lately. I haven't really had any like cool new ideas for videos lately, but that's mainly because all I can ever think about is Marvel Rivals. I can't stress to y'all enough my sheer need for this game. It cannot come out fast enough. For those of you who aren't in the loop yet, Marvel Rivals is a brand new free-to-play team hero shooter, which is just a fancy way of saying it's Overwatch with characters from the Marvel Universe. It was developed by NetEase Games, and the official release date is December 6th of this year. So the game hasn't fully came out at the time of making this video, but they have had multiple closed beta tests that I've been a part of. And man, I have mostly nothing but great things to say about my time playing. I've already posted a few different videos on Marvel Rivals if anyone wants to go check those out, but I've held off on making a review because I wanted to wait for the full release in case they made any sort of huge, crazy changes to the game. But honestly, from now until December, they're probably not going to alter much on a fundamental level outside of character balancing. And also, this game is legit all I can think about. This is all I'm waiting on, so might as well talk about it while we're still feeling this fired up. With this being a game centered around the Marvel Universe, you already know they had to weave together some sort of story here. And some of you may be wondering, why are all these heroes fighting each other? Well, the story follows a hostile meeting between Doctor Doom and his heroic 2099 counterpart. This causes multiple universes to merge into the time stream entanglement, which causes new worlds to be created. This causes heroes and villains across the multiverse to fight one another with the main goal of defeating both Doctor Doom variants before one of them claims victory over the new worlds. So the game is essentially Marvel's next big multiverse project. All these heroes and villains come from different places, that's why they're fighting each other. But with that being said, obviously they're not trying to say like this game is canon or anything, but at least you know where these people come from and why Tony Stark would be fighting Spider-Man or Doctor Strange, you know what I'm saying? The gameplay, as I mentioned earlier, is identical to Overwatch but with Marvel characters. If you're unfamiliar with Overwatch, this is a PvP game that's played with a team of role-based heroes that have unique abilities to help aid in the fight against another team. Marvel Rivals and Overwatch both have 3 separate role categories, and each team role is highly important in its own way. If you're missing just one piece of this puzzle, your team stands virtually no chance at all at succeeding. The roles in Marvel Rivals are as follows. The tank is someone who typically has the most health and soaks up the most damage on the front lines, so his teammates are able to more comfortably perform their jobs. Their abilities are also typically more centered around crowd control or area suppression, as opposed to dishing out high damage, because that's where our next category comes in, the damage or DPS. These are usually players with a lot less health than tanks, but make up for it by dealing a larger amount of damage, whether that's with heavy hitting abilities or a stronger base loadout. Their job is to be the main aggressors and take out as many people on the enemy team as possible. Finally, we have our last role, which is actually my personal favorite, and that's the healers or support. Just as the name suggests, the support's role is to keep the team alive as much as humanly possible. Most support abilities or base attacks heal your teammates as opposed to doing damage, but you still have some sort of attack power, so you're not completely left defenseless out there. This is my personal favorite role because I like to also try dealing damage while healing my team, so the experience feels more interactive than if I was just focusing on one thing. And also, I'm just really good at keeping the team alive. I always tend to excel in the healing category in games like this, and it honestly makes me mad when I'm playing a different role and die, because I always think, oh geez, if I were the healer, this wouldn't have happened. I know that's probably something everybody thinks, but I just take it way too much to heart. And I'm good at the heals anyways, so it's one of those, if it ain't broke, don't fix it situations, you know what I'm saying? Might as well keep things rolling. And most of the time, people don't like to play healers in these kind of games because they see it as like the boring, monotonous team role. It's not the team MVP going out getting 30 kills like a Spider-Man or Punisher damage player. Moving on though, with a combination of these 3 roles, you go up against another enemy team in objective-based game modes that include pushing a payload, in a control the zone supremacy style mode. The premise for this game has been around for quite some time, but the addition of Marvel characters is such a great and inventive way of using these IPs. And this also means that they have the entire Marvel catalog to go off of for bringing in more heroes. I hope it doesn't get too extreme, but they could easily have over 100 characters in here if they wanted to. As it stands, they're still constantly developing new heroes, but the game already has a pretty sizable cast of characters to use. And it really feels like damn near anyone you play is extremely viable. There's a few outliers for each category like Venom for tank or Punisher for DPS, but no matter who you decide to play, it feels like they all have a good fighting chance. I never felt completely helpless while playing anybody, and that's coming from somebody that constantly plays support characters. Something that's also pretty cool that this game heavily focuses on is the team up abilities. Every hero has a unique team up ability that activates whenever they're on the same team as a different specific hero. And these team up powers can be anything from boosting an attack or altering an ability. This adds a really interesting layer to a draft system that's already rather complex. It's always been important in these games to pair up abilities that work well together, but now there's an extra incentive to actually do that. And the incentive is something that they actually tell you too, which is helpful. It's not like something that you randomly figure out works well when you play someone enough. Switching over to the visuals, the overall art style is almost a mix between the Marvel comic book art and Japanese anime. Everything from the world, objects, and skins all appear to have a heavy anime influence, which isn't necessarily surprising considering NetEase is based out of China. Let's just get the world out of the way real quick because the characters are all that really matters. For starters, the game has multiple different settings, whether that's an Asgard-inspired palace or courtyard, and even a few Neo-Tokyo-inspired cityscapes. The maps themselves, I don't have any sort of problems with. I thought they all looked pretty great, but something I wasn't a fan of was the destructible environments. Most building and objects around the map can be broken, which isn't a big deal, but I personally think they respawn rather quick, which throws off the flow of the map after already disrupting it. I think the environment should break slower and stay broken, but that's just me. Moving on to the actual characters, nobody in this game looks exactly how they do in comics or movies. They all have random subtle differences that make the skins unique to this game, but the potential for skins in this game is endless. NetEase has a ginormous backlog of various different suits all of these heroes have worn before, and there's potential to see all of them in this game. They've already kind of done this with a few skins for Hulk and Iron Man, but they haven't even really scratched the surface with what's possible. I mean, we could have an all-chrome Iron Man suit, all-black Spider-Man, Maestro Hulk skin, I mean, you name it. Moving on to audio, everything from the game sounds fantastic. For starters, NetEase pulled together an absolutely stacked voice actor list for all the characters. We've got massive names like Josh Keaton for Iron Man. This guy's known for voicing Peter Parker in the Spectacular Spider-Man TV series. And most importantly, H.J. Hollis from the Pixar classic Bricktoons. Alright, keeping things rolling here though, next we got Yuri Lowenthal voicing Spider-Man, which is an insane casting pool. This guy's been the voice of Peter Parker in multiple different Marvel or Spider-Man related games like Midnight Suns, or most notably, all of the PlayStation Spider-Man games. Like the newer ones, you know what I'm saying? The PS4, PS5, Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, and the Spider-Man Miles Morales. My boy was Peter Parker in all of those. That's crazy. They also got the voice actor for Kiriko from Overwatch 2 to come voice Penny Parker. I mean, they got Kiriko jumping ships out here. That's how good this game is. It's insane. I'm not gonna go down this whole cast list, but it is incredibly stacked with some pretty heavy talent. Some of these people voice a lot of different projects, so it might be harder to distinguish who's who, but it's nice that everyone sounds familiar or already recognizable in a sense. Moving on to the sound effects, these also all sound pretty good, and they do a good job at distinguishing these from one another even when there's a giant team fight going on. Meaning it doesn't all just sound like a bunch of static battle noise. You can still always differentiate between different people's powers and abilities, which is actually pretty helpful in a game where people are really fast and constantly trying to flank your backline. The music for this game is also pretty cool too. It's got the same sort of Neo-Tokyo vibe to match the game's art style, but I'm not gonna lie, I had this turned down quite a bit so I could hear other stuff going on. So I don't really have a lot to say about the music, but from what I do at least remember, it was pretty good. Next, as far as bugs and issues go, I honestly feel like it's rather unfair to judge this category since I've only played closed beta tests, and one would hope that the game progresses to a better state from then to the time of full release. The info I have for this category may not be the most up to date, but this is the only real talking point in this video that's held back by the full release not being here. I think everything else in this video will be pretty much identical. Sorry about that. With that being said though, during both separate playtests, the game was playable but certainly not polished by any means. The gameplay always seemed to run pretty choppy, especially when there's 11 other people running around the lobby doing stuff. I think the game's main problem right now is that every character is so unbelievably crazy in terms of power and abilities that the game has a hard time managing everybody doing a bunch of stuff at the same time. The hero's special abilities make the match drop in frames almost like clockwork because everybody typically gets their ult around the same time, and you'll have almost the whole lobby using it at the same time. This is something that I'm hoping is just a problem in betas. Like I said, the game was definitely playable, but it certainly needs a big boost in overall performance. And I'm really hoping the game isn't dropping in the same state as last time, because that would just be horrible. Something that's actually kind of scaring me is the amount of work they're putting into all these different characters feels like they're not putting their focus in the best places. They already have a great cast of people, yet they're still working on more and plan to have even more ready to play by the official launch, which honestly just seems kind of crazy. I mean, this game hasn't even had a full open beta yet to test the server capacity. They've only had closed betas that were rather hard to even get into. I just hope they feel confident in how this game's gonna run on launch, because what I've played so far doesn't play exactly the best, and also it could end up even worse if this game ends up insanely huge on day one, has all these people trying to come into it and they weren't expecting the servers to have this kind of capacity, and then things just start crashing, shutting down. I mean, that would be horrible. We still have a few months between now and December, so I'm honestly really hoping that we get some sort of open beta playtest with PlayStation, PC, and Xbox, because we need to just get everybody on this game and see how it runs. That's also another thing too, I forgot to mention it in the gameplay category, but all of the characters in this game are going to be available on launch day one. You're not going to have to unlock anybody, wait for anybody. They're all going to be free. You're going to have everybody, and it's going to be great. In conclusion, Your Honor, Marvel Rivals is just straight up addicting. I've always been someone who's been a big fan of Marvel and competitive multiplayer games, and this completely scratches both itches simultaneously. If I had to wrap this all up into a rating today, 1 to 10, I think I'm gonna hit this with a big old fat 10 out of 10. Is Marvel Rivals a perfect game? No, nothing is. Is it one of the best games I've personally played all year? Yeah, I would have to say so. This game has me in an absolute headlock. The last competitive multiplayer game that I really grinded out was Apex Legends, but that flame died out a long time ago, and I've been on the prowl for something new ever since. And here walks in Marvel Rivals. Everything I could have ever hoped for. When this game comes out, I'm going to be on absolute degen time with it. I mean, your boy might log a cool 100 hours within the first week. We've got to be #1 Luna Snow by day 3 or everything will be for nothing. I know I'm rambling a bit here, but long story short, Marvel Rivals is a great game. I think about her daily, and I can't wait for December 6th. I'm just gonna call it now too. This, without a doubt, will be one of my top 5 best games of 2024. I love it that much. I don't know where on the list yet, but it made it, that's for sure. And with that being said, folks, we are probably about done with this review here today. If you've also played Marvel Rivals, comment down below and let me know what you think of the game, because I would love to hear about it. And also, tell me who you like playing. There's a lot of different characters in there. You know, your boy's #1 Luna Snow on planet Earth, so let me know who you're good at. Also, if you enjoyed the video or you like Marvel Rivals, go ahead and like and subscribe, because I'll be posting a lot more Rivals content once that game releases. Alrighty, y'all, I'm out of here. Have yourselves a good one. Thank you for watching. This has been Lunar, and welcome to Bound.